Hey, man.
What's up?
Have you ever heard of, this is a mouthful, the Dave Matthews Band Chicago River incident?
Is this an alien thing?
Only if Dave Matthews is an alien.
The Dave Matthews Band Chicago River incident?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said.
I thought you were going to stop at Dave Matthews Band, and I was like, how is this interesting enough for an episode?
Bro, I'm going to tell you something right now. Until I get through this story, you are going to have no idea where these twists and turns to. It just keeps getting crazier.
Wow. Don't overhype it. Look at me. Don't overhype it. Okay.
Right, so
it happened at the Chicago River.
Yeah. So on the Chicago River, I don't know if you've ever been to Chicago. Have you ever been to Chicago?
We've been to Chicago multiple times. This is my friend, the river. I was like, oh no, a little girl got hit by a bus. The button that says dump the poop.
They worship the geese at the Chicago River. Bus dusted.
Bus dusted.
Things I learned last night.
So you remember how like there's certain bridges over the river?
I don't remember a thing about it.
Okay, so you remember
bridges over
bridges
rivers.
that go over the river.
Yeah.
Did you notice that a lot of those bridges are graded bridges? So it's just like open air to the ground, or I guess to the water.
Oh no.
You remember that?
I do. Now I'm just trying to piece things together. Like I'm imagining Dave Matthews holding a bridge concert for whatever reason, right? They're just like, let's do it on the bridge.
Let's do a bridge
and
concert.
And then there's people who didn't quite make it on the bridge. They're just around. And they're like, I'm on a bridge, you know? And then the bridge collapses.
Nope. No, this is worse than that.
Oh, geez. Okay, so yes, I know the grate that you're talking about.
So they have the graded bridges. So on August 8th, 2004, Dave Matthews Band was playing a set of shows in East Troy, Wisconsin, which is not far from Chicago. So they got a hotel for a 2-night stay in Chicago.
Okay.
Here's something interesting about the Dave Matthews Band that I never knew. They travel with 5 tour buses.
Here's something interesting that I never knew. Not a single one of them is named Dave Matthews. They have 5 tour buses. So probably because, you get, how many people are in the band?
It's 5. It's
is it one for each member? Yeah, I was going to say, so some bands do that. Some bands are...
Yeah,
when you're making the level of income, because a tour bus is pretty expensive. That's $2,000 a day.
I actually think that they're doubled up on a couple of their buses because they've got like 100 members.
I was gonna say they've got
it's not that 7, I think,
but also crew travels with them.
Yeah. Well,
so
here's the thing.
Typically, what happens is a lot of the main band will ride in a bus together, and then the main crew, like your head people, will ride in a bus together, and then they will charter some buses for everybody else. Buses for other people, yeah.
So they have, they've got a big band, a very big band.
That's why the bridge fell.
So so they had 5 buses, right?
Okay.
And they were staying in Chicago for the 2-night stay.
Were all the buses on the bridge?
No.
I keep trying to jump ahead of you.
On August...
The word incident does make me feel like it's an alien thing, though. That's honestly... But go ahead.
So it's August 8th, 2004.
Yeah. 5 buses roll into
Chicago. All of them go check in at the hotel. One of them is separated from the group. Nobody else is on it. Everybody else goes on.
Oh, the bus.
Goes back into the hotel.
I thought you were talking about all buses. 5 members of the band. And then one member of the band is separated from the group. And I was like, I don't know if he'd call it separated from the group. Okay. So 4 buses then go to the hotel.
4 buses go to the hotel. Well, all the buses go to the hotel.
Okay.
One leaves the hotel, goes somewhere else. Yeah. Right?
On purpose, or did the bus just go?
Everyone's like, hey,
phantom
the bus just left.
Takes off.
So the bus leaves the hotel, and the only person in it is the driver, allegedly.
Okay.
And when this bus travels over the Kinsey Street Bridge, it's crossing the Kinsey Street Bridge. At the same time, Chicago's Little Lady, which is an open air boat, is traveling underneath the bridge. And so this, let me paint the picture of Chicago's Little Lady. Chicago's Little Lady is
I thought the little lady meant like the mayor's daughter. That's what I thought. Like the first lady is the mayor's wife.
The little
and then
lady.
Chicago's Little Lady. I was like, oh no, a little girl got hit by a bus.
So the Little Lady.
That is a boat.
It's a boat. It's a charter boat. And what they do is it's an architecture tour of the city. And
Okay.
so it travels along the river and it points out all the famous architecture in Chicago.
Is it Little Lady or Lil?
Little. It's little. This is a very upscale event. It is
okay.
$1,200 an hour.
Jeez.
For a single ticket.
Yeah.
So
I was
very.
like, I'd like to see the architecture, but I don't want to get anywhere near it. Can we look at it from the water?
So this is like a very upscale tourist attraction. This has been ranked on multiple occasions, top 10 tourist attractions in the world.
Oh, jeez.
Like literally,
Look at architecture?
in Chicago.
Look at that building.
Yeah, to float along the river and pay $1,200 to.
You can see that building.
See the
It's
stuff you could
got
do for free.
windows on it. And then over here, this building, it's got some windows and a pointy thing at top. This one
This one has less windows.
has less window. We counted one day.
Yeah, it's
because
actually-
that's what we do.
It looks like the same amount, but it's less.
Some of you are thinking, did we just take a lap? That's because in the 1970s, architecture was really like, I mean, they're nerds, man. I like that.
Yeah. So this is a very upscale tourist attraction.
And they do a thing where the bus is coming over the bridge. Little Lady is underneath the bridge at the same time.
Yeah,
Now, is Dave Matthews' tour bus got his face and stuff on it? Is one of those tour buses?
I actually don't know.
Oh.
I don't know if they do. But I do know that this bus...
Because I imagine that kind of tour bus would offend the crowd on the Little Lady. I don't know. Like, I wish I could see the city without this gaudy bus in the way.
I wanted to see the architecture, not Dave Matthews.
It's just his face on the side of the bus.
It's the Dave Matthews River Tour. Let's go see all the pictures of Dave Matthews in Chicago. This is a bonus.
Actually, his show that night was just a slideshow of the architecture in...
Okay, this is getting out of hand.
Yeah, I know it is. Just go. I'm waiting for you to go.
So the bus was actually the bus belonging to the violinist. I shouldn't say belonging. It was the violinist's bus. So Boyd Tinsley is his name.
Okay.
But Boyd allegedly wasn't on the bus. Allegedly, it was just the driver, whose name is Stefan Wohl.
Okay.
This is horrible. As he's driving across the bus, or as he's driving across the bridge, he notices, hey, I'm a busy tour bus driver. We drive all over the place. We got lots of itineraries.
Sure.
There's lots of things to do all the time, right? The bridge I'm crossing over right now is a graded bridge, and I have a full septic tank. And so he says,
no way.
let me just kill two birds with one stone and empty the tank real quick. And so as he's passing over this bridge, he dumps...
As he's driving?
Yeah, he's just driving.
No
he dumps
way.
800 pounds of waste onto this bridge, which is a graded bridge. And so it dumps down into the Chicago River below onto the Little Lady that is passing underneath at the same exact time. And covers 2/3 of the passengers and literally 800 pounds of
bus poop.
Of bus poop.
Did that bus just poop on us? And that's why the other four had to go to the hotel, because they weren't river trained, right? And so instead of potty trained. Anyway, so the bus, is he moving as he's doing it?
He's moving across. It's 1:15 in the afternoon. He's moving across this graded bridge, and he's like, "Oh, it's graded. This is easy."
Oh, I'm never saying crop dusted again. I am 100% only saying bus dusted.
The bus dusted.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah,
that's not what I thought you were going to say.
Dusted that room. I just kept walking.
Bus dusted.
Bus dusted.
I totally thought,
I don't like that at all.
I thought you were going to say Dave Matthews, which is
Dave
awesome.
Matthews?
Dave Matthews that, but bus dusted. That's better. Yeah, so just drenched the whole boat.
Are there photos of this?
I don't think there's photos of it.
Can I see the boat? This is what I'm trying to picture.
Yeah, here, let me get
So these are hoity-toity people who have paid $1,200. Imagine that, though. Imagine you're not a hoity-toity person, right? And you've saved up $1,200. And then you're going through looking at like, oh, look how many windows that building has. And, oh, yeah. And it's like built to cup in the sewage on top, too.
Yep. It's not washing off the sides.
That is not a good...
This is not designed
You
to
are
get
hanging
pooped
out on top of this boat.
Yeah, rough scenario.
Yeah. And they were like, oh, man, if only we were Chicago's little later. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just timed this thing horrible.
Yeah, the timing is
There's no
phenomenal.
way. That feels intentional.
You think they tried that?
I think Dave Matthews was like, listen. One time I tried,
He's been trying to book a show.
This is Dave Matthews pretty womaning this boat. He's like, one time I tried to get on that and they were like, ew, you're Dave Matthews. So here's what I want you to do.
I want you to be ooed.
I want the bus to poop on that boat. And if it's intentional, that's pretty punk rock.
So here's the thing. So the Illinois Attorney
Which is
General,
already illegal. He can't dump that there.
Yeah, no, he's not. Yeah, you're definitely not supposed to just dump that in the river.
Yeah, come on,
So
Stefan.
to begin with, it's an illegal act. But to dump it
on
a boat
people?
full of people, it's even worse. The Illinois Attorney General said that passengers aboard included persons with disabilities, elderly, a pregnant woman, a small child, and an infant. And the filing, listen to this quote. It says the liquid waste was brownish yellow in color, had a foul, offensive odor.
Yeah, they were offended.
They were very offended by it. The liquid waste went into passengers' eyes, their mouth, their hair, onto belongings and clothes.
Oh, I don't like the feeling I just got in my throat from that.
And then this line, some passengers suffered from nausea and vomiting. Well, of course they did. You don't have to tell us that, obviously.
Yeah. You ever been pooped on? Have you? Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with too many advertisements during the TILLN podcast? Have we got good news for you? Our patrons enjoy ad-free experience, and they get early access to content, behind-the-scenes stuff, exclusive merchandise, and access to a private Discord channel where we all are in it, our producers and the hosts. So if you'd like to be a patron today and solve that problem, why don't you text TILLN to 66866?
No, have you ever been pooped? Yeah, of course I have.
I've held a baby. What are you talking about? Like, you're acting like it was like I've not been pooped on by like an adult.
Hey, did you just poop on
not
me?
A person, a baby.
No, the closest I've ever got to being pooped on.
What are you laughing at?
Just that phrase. The closest I've ever got to being pooped on.
Yeah, I know. I barely missed it. You're not going to believe it. Yeah.
No, here's what happened. I was at a McDonald's.
This is a real story. I thought you were just doing a bit.
Yeah, I was at McDonald's, 7 years old. I'll never forget it.
Hold on. Okay.
McDonald's, 7 years old.
Oh, it was in the play place?
In the play place.
Yeah.
Just going up in the tunnels as high as I can, and then I come around a corner all quick, and there's just a pile. And I was just like, oh no.
I was in Nashville, Tennessee this weekend, and at a Walmart, I was walking out, and there was, in the Walmart parking lot, there's a little brown thing on the...
Oh, rough. Didn't you step in one of those in San Antonio when we were on tour?
In a dog poop?
No, it was a human.
You think it was a human poop? I don't think I've ever stepped in human poop.
I'm certain you stepped in human.
I don't think so.
In San Antonio.
But I definitely looked down at this and I was like, I don't think that's a dog. I was like, I think
that doesn't seem very dog-like.
San Antonio human poop does not sound familiar to me. Maybe I blocked that out in my mind.
When you brought up Nashville, I thought you were going to talk about last week you in the play place at McDonald's in Nashville.
And I pooped. Had to go.
Here's the thing. There was another incident well, not another incident. During the same incident, there was also traffic on the bridge behind the bus. And so years later, this never hit the news. Years later, someone came forward and was like, I was the car behind the bus.
Let me tell you what I saw.
And they were like, here's the thing. They were like, it was a beautiful day. I had my windows all rolled down.
Yeah.
It was me, my husband, and it was a pregnant woman. She was like, it was me and my husband and our toddler son in the back seat.
And our baby inside me.
The windows,
pregnant at the time.
The windows were rolled down, and she was like, it's been really bad. I had really bad morning sickness all the time, whatever. And then that dump happened, and it just splattered because it was grated. So not everything went through the grate. And so there was just a pile that they drove through, and it splattered everything up all over their car and into their car.
Oh my!
Because they had their windows open, and so she starts puking all over the place.
Oh yeah, obviously
trying to drive. Oh man, unimaginable.
Now in your car that wouldn't be a big deal.
Oh,
in mine, I have like a payment. You know, like I would be annoyed.
I have a payment
if that happened. You know, I'd be like, oh my gosh,
I'm gonna be honest. If that happened to my car, I'd throw it away.
You should already. Is that what it would take? I'll go poop in your car right now, dude. Like, is that what it would take?
We've said poop way too many times.
I know. I did think that. I was like, yeah, people already think we're like middle school humor. You're the one who brought this story up, dude.
Because it's ridiculous, man. So
far, I've seen all the twists coming.
You did not see that coming.
Go ahead.
You did not see that. Well, here's the thing. After this happened, nobody had any idea what happened because they didn't know it was Dave Matthews Band's bus. They just knew some bus drove over and dumped all over.
So does Dave Matthews come out and take credit for it? And is like, I have a public statement to make. Hey guys. Or does he say, listen, here's my demands. I've got 4 other buses.
We've got 4 other buses parked at the Fitzpatrick Hotel.
Meet our demands. So
we want 7 tickets to the Little Lady of Chicago.
Yeah, he's like trying to bargain for it.
But don't clean it.
Oh, ew. Okay. So... Okay.
So this investigation goes underway of them trying to figure out whose bus was that.
We should do a true crime podcast.
Whose bus is that?
Called Bust Dusted.
Bust Dust the podcast.
We should bust the bus dust.
The bus dusted. Okay, so they're looking for the bus, right?
Yeah.
And
pretty hard to find. They got dogs out trying to follow the scent. They're looking for the bus?
Yeah, so they start looking for the bus. I should say, nobody had any sort of like, everybody on board, they all went to the hospital and they got checked out. They didn't get any sort of diseases or anything. They just,
and all that.
Yeah, it was just gross. It was just really gross.
Yeah.
They threw the boat away. They said it's not
they set it on fire and let it out into
pushed
the
it into the Michigan. They're like, it's the lakes now.
A single tear rolled down their cheek.
They still take it. They point out the bridge on the tour. They said this is where the Dave Matthews Band.
This building was designed by French architect Chapadepepa. I didn't know how to say a French name, so I just said gibberish. And then this bridge, and they say it like Bruno Mars's song. This bridge. You know, you heard that song? You know, this. Anyway. So this bridge is where they don't call him Dave. David Matthews. Because they're too hoity-toity for that, right? The newspaper the next day said, hoity-toilet. This is off the rails. Okay, so they're looking for the bus.
They're looking for the bus. They were able, using security camera footage from a nearby gym, to get the license plate from that bus.
Okay.
So they said, okay, we got him. So they found that the bus belonged to another bus driver in the Dave Matthews pack. And so they tried to track him down, and he had an alibi. He was like, oh, I was checking at the hotel.
Yeah,
and it lined up. And so they were like, that's strange.
There's footage of me, yeah.
Yeah, there's footage of me at the hotel. It wasn't me. And they're like, but
but what were the other drivers' names? No,
we're all Dave.
Yeah. My name is Dave. This is Matthew.
So they did check that Stefan Wool was the one driving the bus on that tour. But he denied being out at that time. He said we were all at the hotel.
Did he know what happened as he was driving over the bridge? Did the bus driver go, oh? Did he go, oh, crap? And then he was like, that's not good.
Him and the entire Dave Matthews camp.
So he denies it.
No, we didn't do that.
That wasn't
that
us.
Didn't happen.
That was the other tour in town.
They're like, we were all at the hotel.
Have you asked Taylor?
At that
time. Swift. Where was her bus?
Yeah. So they're denying it to the nines, right?
Okay.
Eventually, they were able to find on another security camera footage an image of Stefan driving that bus. And they're like, this is you. And he's like, okay, yeah, I did that.
He's like, yeah.
And then Dave Matthews was like, oh, he really did do that. And they're like, great, sweet. And so he got fired as their tour bus driver. He also pleaded guilty in March 2005. This was a year-long investigation. In March 2005.
What did they charge him with?
So he pleaded guilty to reckless conduct and discharging contaminants to cause water pollution.
Oh, yeah. Because either way, that's, boat there or not, that you can't dump that stuff in the river.
Yeah, absolutely. So he was sentenced to 18 months probation and had 150 hours of community service and paid a fine of $10,000 to the Friends of the Chicago River, which is not an organization. It's just
I was just going to say, some people like, this is my friend, the river. It's just, it's a antisocial group. Just people who don't have real friends. They are just friends with the river.
Yep. Them, and there's another group that hangs out by the Chicago River called the Phantom Goose, and they worship the geese at the Chicago River.
I thought you were gonna go like a superhero angle.
Oh, also that.
Yeah, they protect the river.
They protect the river. So they then the Dave Matthews Band. They donated $50,000 to the Friends of the Chicago River.
They were like, sorry about that.
They said,
guys.
sorry, he only gave you $10,000.
This is his salary.
Yeah. They said, we've got a lot of money left over from firing him.
Yeah.
And then they also gave $50,000 to the Chicago Park District.
Okay.
Because they were like, hey, you guys kind of have something to do with the river. And then they paid $200,000 to the state of Illinois as a settlement because the state of Illinois came and sued them. And they were like, hey, if you keep it quiet about this, we'll give you $200,000.
Yeah, maybe let me speak in a language you might understand.
Here's the thing.
How about you make this disappear?
Make this disappear.
And they're like, we're not the mafia, right? And they're like, oh, yeah.
Love TILLN Podcast and want to support the show? Well, you can support us by buying TILLN Podcast merch and wearing it out in the wild. We have tees, hoodies, shirts, and so much more in our merch store. We also have exclusive merch for every single episode, but those are limited, so make sure you get them while you can. Text TILLN to 66866 to support the show. Thank you so much. So what was unfortunate for the Dave Matthews Band is at the time, they were pretty outspoken environmentalists. And so it was a really bad look for them to be talking about.
It's not like David Daniel was like, go dump this in the river.
Allegedly.
We don't know. That's true.
Because here's what happened. In 2019, Stephen Wool was a guest on a radio show.
What? Okay. That means he'd be a guest on our podcast, but that's a different thing too. We can get him. Someone in Chicago, some radio show in Chicago was like, remember that time Dave Matthews pooped in the river? And someone was like, I was on that boat. And they're like, kid who was 7 years old at the time, now graduating high school, is here to confront the person who traumatized his childhood. Up next, Stefan Wool.
Yeah, so Stefan Wool comes and he talks about the events of what happened, and he said that he just didn't put two and two together. The
button that says dump the poop was gonna do that?
Well, no, he just was like, well, it's great. It'll go in the river. It'll just wash away. We're fine. Whatever.
So he did do it on purpose.
Well, he did do it on purpose.
So he goes on this radio interview and is just like,
he drops a bombshell.
Okay.
And he says, I didn't act alone. The narrative up until that point was he was there on his own. So he's saying he was the fall guy. He was saying there's other people present and he covered for them. So
he didn't act alone? Why would you say that's so... Did he say those words?
Yes.
He was just like, well, honestly, and I know this might be hard for you to hear, Michael, because this did traumatize your whole childhood, and you dropped out of elementary school because of this, and I'm really sorry about that. But I didn't act alone. Okay, who else was it?
It rhymes with save.
Flav?
Flav.
So he just drops. He's just like, hey, I didn't act alone.
Yeah, and the host of the radio show thought it was the dumbest thing in the world. They literally made fun of him on air. They were like, no, they're like, yes, you did. They're like, you're just trying to take some of the blame off of you.
You were number two in this operation.
Yeah, so he tries to pretend like the Dave Matthews Band made him the fall guy, and he wasn't responsible for the scenario. Yeah, and the radio show was like, shut up.
So I was like, listen, dude, it's been 15 years. All right, you're known as the bus duster. All right, just what does he do now? Can't drive another bus. No one's gonna let you.
You're not allowed to drive buses.
Drive our bus though.
I don't know what he does now. I actually have no idea. But
should we hire him?
Stefan the bus.
He's not allowed to drive over bridges. Whenever we get to a bridge, I gotta drive.
We gotta pull over, switch the driver.
I don't know how to drive it either. Too. It's very.
What's this button do?
Bridges aren't long.
Bridges. Yeah. So one of my favorite things about the whole incident, though, was Mayor at the time, Mayor Richard Daley, held a press conference.
Little
lady's dad held a
press conference.
And in the press conference, he said the dumping is absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah.
But then he pauses and he says, I do believe,
it is pretty funny, though.
No, he pauses after talking about how unacceptable it was. He pauses and says, I do believe, though, the Dave Matthews Band is a very good band.
What?
What they did was so unacceptable.
The dumping is
but the music's pretty good.
Don't punish them on the music charts for this.
I got their song on Napster, and it's pretty good.
Well, they were like, what was that? He was like, I legally downloaded. I bought it.
They're like, hey, we need to do that.
But I mean, guys, the dump, it's not a good look.
It's not a good look.
If you ignore that and just listen to the song, it's not much better.
Yeah. If you ignore the dumping, the song's pretty good.
Yeah.
So after the investigation, Stefan got charged.
Yeah.
And it became this thing that's sort of like a legend of Dave Matthews in Chicago. Every time he comes to town, it's the river incident.
Every time he comes to town, people bring it up.
People are like, it's the river.
That is
there's
annoying.
a memorial. There's a memorial that someone set up.
No, there's not.
There's a memorial that someone set up. I'll show you.
Someone's like a plaque out there. Yeah. David S. Matthews.
Hold on, let me find the memorial. It's not well done. I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
But someone, hold on, let me see if I can. Yeah, it says in August 2004 at this very location, a DMB, standing for Dave Matthews Band. As if anybody walking by will see that thing.
A DMB.
That's Dave
DMB.
Matthews Band.
Yeah, DMB.
Tour bus dumped 800 pounds of poo on some people. That's the memorial.
What does it look like?
It says hashtag never forget, hashtag always remember. It's literally like a piece of poster board that they taped to the.
Said never forget.
They taped it to the bridge.
DMB tour bus.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty rough. So next time you're in Chicago, try to find that the Kinzie Street Bridge and remember how fortunate you are to be walking across it now instead of on, what was it, August 8th, 2004.
That's the whole episode? That's it?
Yeah, it's a quick story.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's what's really interesting.
Don't fiddle it off yet.
Okay. Why?
Now you can.
Okay.
I just want to make the episode a little longer. I don't know. Like it just feels like we just got into this. You told me there was twists and turns.
Yeah, we hit them all. It's a quick story, but it's a fun story.
Stefan saying I didn't act alone?
Yeah, Stefan said he didn't act alone.
I think we could do a true crime podcast on this. We should do a true crime podcast, by the way.
We should. Anyway, so Dave Matthews, if you ever go see him, he probably does Fiddle Off.
Dave, if you're listening to this. It was the violinist bus.
It was. Yeah. It goes pretty deep, man. Anyways, fiddle that one off. Hey, thanks for watching Things I Learned Last Night. If you like this episode, you can watch more right here, or you can watch some highlights. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. It helps us out a lot. Also, leave a comment below, and we'll see you next week.